Hey there, Yun Cannon here, and welcome back to another episode of Fast Business Growth Made Easy podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a lot to cover in today's Q&A episode, so I'm excited to dive right in.
Welcome to the Fast Business Growth Made Easy podcast, the show for business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to start playing bigger in your business. You'll discover shortcuts and strategies from experts across the globe to help you create a thriving business and life you love. Now, your host, Yun Cannon.
All right, so today is a Q&A episode, and I'm excited to be able to tackle your questions. In fact, if you have a question you'd like to have featured in a future episode, just go to ParamountBusinessCoach.com/AskYun, YOON. When you get to my page, you'll see a green button where you can start recording and just leave me your name and your question, and we'll have you featured in a future episode. So this week, we have a question that's submitted by Stacy, and here's what she asks.
Hello, my name is Stacy Smike Santiago, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. My question is, once you've defined a big goal for the year, how do you know what actions to build up to it so that it's going to be effective for you to achieve your goal? So for example, I want to launch a program in fall of 2017, and I understand that building my list and giving free content, building a trusted relationship with them is something that I need before I launch and ask for a buy. But what do those action steps consist of to build my list? What's the right funnel for me leading up to the program? I'm not sure how to figure out what that is. Thank you. And my website is truecareerchoice.com. That's truecareerchoice.com. Thank you.
Stacy, thanks for submitting your question. And first off, I have to say kudos for you to even think of that question by itself, because I have to tell you, I work with clients who really never stopped to ask themselves that question. And when you get excited about an idea, you kind of might be wired to bulldoze ahead and just get things done as quickly as possible. But oftentimes that really leads into, avoidable consequences that end up being costly mistakes. So kudos to you for asking that. And also thanks for giving us that context. Now, so we are going to dive into your question, and essentially you're asking, how do you create the right action plans to achieve your goals? Well, I've got 4 tips for you today, Stacy, and for our listeners. Now, before you dive into these tips, or we dive into them together, I do want to give you the first starter tip is write down what's at stake if you don't achieve your goal. So it's important that you get very clear on what is motivating you to achieve your goal and why. You need to get clear and then stay clear. So that's the first step before you really evaluate what that action plan should be. Now, you have to also keep in mind, if this is the first time you're pursuing a specific goal, reality is you just aren't going to know what you don't know until after you get that 20/20 hindsight, right, from trial and error. But the problem is, the trial and error route is very time consuming and it's very expensive. You end up making costly mistakes. So this isn't really a new idea. Back in there's Proverbs 14:12 where it says, there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. Now, I don't share that with you to be morbid, but you know what? There is a tie here. There is a metaphor. Because the risk of prolonged lack of progress and making these costly mistakes for many people, it leads them to give up, which means that's the death of their dreams. So I don't want to see that happen to you, and it's smart to be able to get these tips. Okay, so let's dive right into tip number 1. So if you want to create the right action plans to achieve your goal and you want to know if you are on the right track, I would say go out there and learn what everyone else is doing who's already gone before you. So that would mean, go and read some books. And in your case, you're looking to launch an online program, Stacy. So I would go buy online courses on how to launch online courses. In fact, I'll give you some resources that are great places to start. Amazon and Kindle. So whether you prefer print or Kindle books, certainly there's audible.com. You can hear the content through Audible, right? And then there's online courses like lynda.com. Udemy.com is a great place to get started. And there's a lot of other resources if you just Google it. So in your case, you might Google something like how to launch an online course or ultimate action plan to launch an online program. So you want to do those searches both on Google, and I would also be doing that in a podcast app. So if you go on iTunes, there are podcasts out there where the show is completely geared around launching an online program. So the first step in being able to get clear whether or not you have the right action plan to effectively help you achieve your goal would be to learn. So this is where you're going out and getting some training. Okay, the second tip I have for you, Stacy, and for our listeners is doing something what I call funnel hack. And I heard the word funnel in your question, so you're already familiar with what a sales funnel is. But for those of our listeners who are new to that term, it just simply means a funnel is the process, it's the sales process where someone takes a cold lead and turns them into a warm lead and then into a hot lead and then into a paying customer. So when you funnel hack, I'll share with you a couple of quick tips on how to do that. But make sure what you're looking for is you want to find someone who is successful doing what you want to do. So I would start with one and then perhaps build it to 2 or 3. But you want to start with someone who's already successful doing what you want to do, and you need to meet these 3 criteria. If you're going to funnel hack, make sure that they are also hitting the same target market as you. They're addressing the same or very similar problem, and that they're delivering the solution in the same or similar way. Okay, so these are the 3 criteria that you want to make sure you have in mind when you decide who you want to funnel hack. And so when you do that, you want to take right from the beginning of when somebody might be a cold lead. Right, so maybe they saw a social media post on Facebook, or maybe it's on Instagram. Maybe they saw something on LinkedIn. Perhaps it's an ad, a Facebook ad, that they saw. So if that's the case, just take a screenshot of that Facebook ad. Sign up for that free thing, and then start keeping track of all of the emails that you're getting from that. And I would say buy their stuff. Right? And really experience what it's like to go through their content and what the user experience is like being able to make that purchase point, right? So that's important. In that process of you wearing the customer hat, you're going to learn so much about how you're different, so to position your wow factor. And you're also going to learn so much about what kind of words, language, is working, that they're using in their landing pages, their email copy, so forth. And it can save you a ton of research because they've already done it, right? And you can see what resonates with you and even what doesn't resonate with you. So that's what I call funnel hack, and that's our second tip for today. All right, so we talked about learning and getting some training, reading books and taking online courses. We talked about funnel hacking. The third tip that I have for you is to join a mastermind group. And so you want to look for a mastermind group, and this is a group of people who are like-minded. So ideally, you want to look for a group where the facilitator has already achieved the goals that you're looking to achieve. Okay. Now, it's also good, however, if you find a group where the members are doing what you want to do. All right. And so sometimes you have both. So a mastermind group really allows you to be a sounding board to one another, to hear what's working and what's not working with other people on that same journey. And of course, it's better if you have that facilitator who can point out, whoa, okay, you guys are going in the wrong direction. That's actually going to be a detour. So that certainly would be ideal. So I would suggest, look for a mastermind group who can help you with that. Okay, so now we're getting into the fourth tip. And my fourth tip for you on this one is I would invest in hiring experts. This is a huge time saver to just go ahead and find a qualified coach or consultant so you can get qualified feedback and expert coaching from someone who's already been there, already done that. They know all the detours, they know all the traps, they know all the costly, expensive mistakes and how to avoid them. So that's very key as well. Okay, so the 4 tips we just went over is number 1, you want to learn. So go train yourself by reading books and signing up for online courses. The second tip we talked about was funnel hacking, people who already are doing what you want to do and they're successful at it. The third tip we talked about was joining a mastermind group of people who are on the same journey. And the fourth tip is hire the experts. And so with these 4 tips, I want to tell you, if you're limited on time, the ideal solution is to find a program that will provide coaching as well as providing the training component. Because number 1 and number 2 strategy is going to be your most time-consuming methods. Now, there was an important study that was done by the Manchester Review, and they found training alone improved performance by 22%, while training with coaching improved performance by 88%. Now, I bring this up because in your case, Stacy, and for many of our listeners in the same boat, you're looking to improve your results in the utilizing and following the action plan. And this is a skill set that you need to acquire. And so my tip for you is if you want to accelerate that and get the maximum impact, then here's the training tip from Manchester Review that's really going to help you with that, is looking for a program where you're getting the training with the coaching. And I have to tell you, I'm personally a big believer behind this study. When I first founded my own program, it's called Power Biz Academy, I saw my members developing their sales and marketing skills so much faster because they got the training plus the weekly coaching with me combined. So I'm bringing this up simply to give you an example of what a combination of training and coaching would look like. Enrollment is actually waitlisted right now, so you can't even get into Power Biz Academy. But for those of you who want to see what that combination type of an option would look like, you can take a peek over on my site at powerbizacademy.com. Okay, so those are the 4 strategies that's going to help you create the right action plans to achieve your goals. Now, I also want to say, as an added special perk for Stacy, who happened to share a copy of her business goals action plan with me, I'm going to record a bonus episode where you get to hear my feedback on Stacy's 7-month action plan to launch her first online program. So I want to invite you to stay tuned for next week's episode so you can hear the delivery of direct coaching and feedback on her specific plan. Now, if you are not a subscriber yet, make sure that you do subscribe to my blog so that way you get these episodes delivered straight to your inbox. And you can do that by going straight to ParamountBusinessCoach.com.